Okay, procurement management essentially is a framework. It's actually a procedure. It's actually a system to deliver a project from the very beginning concept to completion. So different stages of the project, you will start to develop what are the mode and the method of delivery, the mode and the method of buying, of purchasing. And procurement in English dictionary, they are quite related to the word like purchase, like buying, like owning, and in actual fact, buying, purchasing is actually a very mild word. Like if we talk about buying, purchasing, we think about mode of payment, we pay with credit card, we pay with cash, we pay with online transfer. So when we think about purchasing, buying, we think about that kind of thing. But it is true that it is also about mode of payment, but it is also about that relationship between the different parties involved. You need to set up that relationship, that framework of how they are going to be related to one another and how they're going to be accountable to one another and how they're going to administer and manage one another and what is one party's rights and responsibilities and what is the other party's obligations and rights, you see. And these are through setting up of this procurement strategy. Because the whole concept of project, there are many components that needs to be delivered, and they will be delivered through people, through materials, through machinery. So there are many resources involved here, and you need to know what is your project all about and what kind of resources that are required before you can get the right resources to come and work for you. And when you want to get the right resources in a civilized society, it's not about just saying that, hey, we've got a project here. Anyone wants to come and join me? This is not a kampong style. Let's go to the backyard and start cooking, or build yourself a shade, or build yourself a river, water transportation systems using bamboo, that sort of thing. It's not like that, So when you determine the resources needed, when you determine what type of resources needed, the people, the machineries, the suppliers, when you know exactly what you need, then you need to know exactly what the project needs, what the project is all about, and then what the project needs, you see. And when you know what the project needs, it's about acquiring them, acquiring people, acquiring material. And when you acquire them, this process of getting people to come and work for you, there is a strategy. There is a contract strategy. There is what we call a procurement strategy of how you're going to have that relationship, how you're going to form that contractual relationship, and the type of contract that you're going to be embarking onto with the people who are going to build for you. And then you're going to be embarking on the people who are going to supply you with machineries. You're going to be embarking with people who are going to supply you with materials, which we call suppliers, you see. And you are going to be embarking onto subcontracting, which is also part of procurement. And these people, they will bring in machineries, material, or they're going to bring in their expertise or their knowledge or technology. What are they going to bring onto the table? And how is that going to be matching with what you need for the project? And together, you form that relationship. And also you need to have a way of announcing that you have such a project going on. You have a need here that needs to be fulfilled. And then there is a calling for quotation, calling for bids, calling for tender. And that will be tendering mode. Okay? And this is essentially what we're trying to say, that procurement is concerned about that, understanding the project itself, knowing the scope of work, knowing the material, machineries, the resources that are required. And now it's about how you acquire these resources. And through that process, you need to establish a contractual, a legal relationship with all your service and goods provider. So we call this service and goods provider for us is maybe our contractor, you see. And then this service and goods provider and or supplier who is your goods providers, and there are some who are just providing you with engineering design service, which is your consultant. This is your service provider. You see, so when you need to know that relationship, how you're going to have that relationship, the roles and the responsibilities, the obligation between that relationship between people and people, and a group of people with the client, and then what sort of methods are you going to ask them to come and quote for you and propose to you, and establishing your project team that way. And then you also need to understand the technology. Would there be any final technology transfer? Maybe you're going to be using a specialties material or specialty equipment, or your building is going to run in a specialized way, air conditioning systems or whatever. So you need to have that understanding of the final technology transfers, beside how the whole project will be transferred back to the client to be used and to go into operation and maintenance phases later on. So during construction, we also need to do contract administration, which is part and parcel of your procurement management as well. So it is not like, that is one thing and this is one thing. This is different. This is the same thing. So basically, procurement is actually concerning with, if I put it very simply, is about establishing that delivery relationship, the procurement delivery, that word. One is out to acquire, one is out to deliver. So that relationship between the deliverable, the delivering person and the procuring or the acquiring person. And then the type of documents, all sorts of documents that are related to that relationship, and then executing, administrating those things that you write in those documents, which we call a contract, and also other documents, a specification, drawings. These are all part and parcel of the procurement documents. And then about how you actually invite people to come and quote for you, make your project known in a very transparent way to get the best deal in town. So that getting the best deal is in terms of what are you going to get the best people? Are you going to get the best technology? Are you going to get it at the cheapest price? Are you going to get it at the most valued price? Whereby the services and good provider is way better than what you're going to be paying for it. So those are in the phase of, it's also part of acquisition, it's also part of acquiring. It's a process. It's that once you've got the documents, the relationship established, the processes, the documentation established, and then you need to know how you're going to get people, get the acquisition into the process, that solicitation, acquisition solicitation, like solicitate means you out and get it, you see, get it. So that solicitation process, you need to find way, and we will explain that as we go along. Okay. And basically the whole process here, inclusive of contract administration and contract management, it is actually to deliver the end product, which is the project itself. So we need to understand that there are few parties in that. Main thing is, I put an A, parties to construction, because these are the relationship between we are talking about relationship between the service provider, the goods and service provider with the owner of the project. See, and then so we need to know that in a project, you've gone through this in year one. There's owner, there is design professionals, there are main contractors. These are the builders. One is a service provider, one is a builder, which is the goods and service provider as well. So they are all service provider, they are all goods and services provider, and they are the people who will actually deliver the project to you as an owner, or you are the person who deliver the project to the owner. So you could belong to the main contractor firm, you could belong to the designer professional firms, and then the design professionals, of course, consist of mechanical, architect, combined, or not mechanical, engineers and architect combined, and engineers, they are mechanical, electrical, civil, structural, they are all together, QSs. These are all the professionals who are going to be involved in the project. And this is the part this is that important, because they are going to provide you with the service. These are the service and goods provider, and how are we going to have that relationship with that goods and service provider?